All right, welcome back to another episode of The Final Word. I am joined by my co-host, Mr. Greg Stone. I sort of yelled at you on the internet a little bit when you shared the episode, which was very nice.
Yeah,
But you shared it and said, "I can't stop doing this podcast," and I was like, "Bud, you're the
yeah.
co-host of the podcast."
All
So
right.
I'm very excited. Yes, go ahead. What was that?
No, in again, to come clean, I really don't like lying. I
Yeah,
also knew, but I thought it was like a fun way to get people
it is a
who
fun
don't
way.
know, you
Yeah,
know.
of course.
But then I committed to it a little bit, and then I think I lied to you. I was like, well, I didn't know. It's like I knew. I just didn't,
Okay, good.
it was just the easy way to. Sometimes I lie only because I'm too lazy to text full stories, you know?
Lying is really easy and super convenient. I don't think people discuss that enough. There's so much convenience in lying, especially when it doesn't really have an effect on anything. Like is
Right.
it like that the lie that you just told, where you just go, "Oh, I can't stop doing this podcast." It's not really a lie, but it's
True.
not totally the
Yeah, because I'm a
truth.
host.
But yeah.
You can't. I'm the co-host now. You literally can't stop.
But exactly. And I think we should be lying more. White lies, I think, are great, especially if they don't hurt, anybody.
I think there should be a level of lying that's acceptable if the answer is significantly easier, right? If
Absolutely
I'm
agree.
like my wife's dad's friend
Yeah.
said a thing, and I just
Yeah.
go, my wife's uncle.
Or you
No
just
one
say
should be
your
like,
wife's
whatever.
dad. You go,
My
who
wife's
cares?
dad,
Yeah, who cares who
or
said
my
it?
wife.
Yeah.
Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
I don't make me go through the whole thing. I don't want to go through the whole thing. We don't have time. I don't feel like dealing with it. That's not the funny part of the story.
Yeah.
Let's just lie to get through this.
It's like when I tell people I just read this and I saw a TikTok about it. I go, "Oh yeah, I just read this article." It's like I didn't read an article. I saw a TikTok.
Right.
You
Of
just
course.
you lie. Come on.
I have one rule I'd like to try to pass,
Yeah.
which is everyone is allowed. This probably should go on my other podcast, Welcome to Talktown. But this is a thing I'm probably
Great
going to bring up on my
podcast,
next
by the way.
podcast.
Go listen to
Oh,
that too.
thanks.
Yeah.
One law I'd like to pass is
Yeah.
everyone is allowed to lie once, but if you're asked about the lie, you have to come clean, and that's the
Okay.
rule. That's the rule, right?
It's
So
yeah.
it's not a lie until you've confirmed it twice.
I used to when I was like really young, I would lie to my parents all the time just because,
Mhm.
I would be in trouble and I would just be lying about things. And my dad would always he'd go, I'll give you three tries. And on the third try, I'd always go, "All right, yeah, no, that wasn't true." And then
Right,
I would always wait till the third one because I was like, I could maybe the second one, I might be able to convince him. I might be able to trick him. And then he'd go, "All right, this is your last chance." And I go, "All right, yeah, I'm lying." And then he'd be like, "All right, cool. You're not in trouble.
right,
I gave you three tries. You eventually told me the truth. We're good." But it was like, if you lie all three times and I catch you, you're fucked. It's like, okay,
absolutely.
that's fair.
I don't know if I ever told you this, but in like third grade, I
Yeah.
was on this show called Guts, and I won a piece of the aggro crag, and
What
it's
is,
still
what is, I don't know what that is. You want a piece of
oh, it was a
what?
show called Guts,
Was it like a
and
Nickelodeon show?
it was a Nickelodeon game show, and the whole
Okay.
thing is you had to climb this giant mountain thing at the
Yeah.
end, and you got a piece of the aggro crag, right?
Okay.
And this is a very beloved thing,
Yeah.
and people constantly ask me about it, and
Sure.
I always say it's not true because I just made that up just now, right? I think how much fun was that for me to
It's
talk
great.
about
Yeah.
Nickelodeon for a second? I had a good
Yeah.
time, and then I
Sure.
tell you the truth, and we still had the fun.
What is that show with Mark Summers? What was that show called?
Double Dare
Double
or
Dare.
Family Double Dare.
Double Dare. I was on a live episode of Double Dare as an adult. This was like
What?
6 years ago. Mark Summers was doing a state like a theater tour of like live Double Dare shows, and I was actually on an episode with three or four of my friends on stage in front of like 2,000
This
people,
is crazy.
chucking eggs and smashing them on our heads. It was wild and not a lie. That actually happened.
That's true.
Yeah, all
Damn.
true.
I was really hoping it was a lie because then
I
I was
was
going to do another lie, and we could have did the whole podcast of just lying and be like, "That's not true. That's not true."
well, I was hoping yours was true because then we could have bonded about both being on, 90s television shows, but
Well, we could
it's
still
fine.
bond on it. It's still a lie that I'll commit to. I
Yeah.
mean, I'll still commit to the lie. It's still fun to
Okay.
tell people. I
Yeah.
often tell people I have a piece of the aggro crag, and if they hit it, they get so excited, and then I just walk away.
Yeah.
Can I tell you one of my favorite lies?
Yeah. Please.
I don't know. Stop me if you heard it. I don't know what I've told people.
Yeah.
Um, I was at this UCB Upright Citizens Brigade. There's like an improv school in New York,
Yeah.
and there's a bar everyone goes to, and all the improvisers go, and they like act cool.
Sure.
And this girl was her dad or stepdad was Val Kilmer, and she
Okay.
like kind of was walking around everywhere and telling everybody about her dad was Val Kilmer. She's a
Yeah.
really nice lady or whatever, but it was just like enough, and I was hammered, so I told her. I was like, "Oh my god, that must be crazy." I was like, "My dad is also famous, so we probably been through a lot of the same stuff, you know."
Yeah.
And I'm always looking for people. And she's like, "Really? Who's your dad?" And I was like, um, uh, "Eric Clapton is my father. He's a singer from he's
Okay.
still around, right?" And then
Yeah.
she was like, "Wait a minute, he's from England." And I
Yeah.
was like, "No, he's not. He's actually from North Carolina. Moved to England. That's where his music career came off, and then moved back here. And I was
Yeah.
raised here." And she was like, and I always say this thing. I go, I'm Eric Clapton's son, not that one, the other one, 'cause
Sure.
famously known
Yeah.
for having a son who passed away.
Fell out,
While
out a window, right? Did he go out a
fell out a
window?
window.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And my stepdad, I mean, this is how fucked up your families are. My stepdad used to go, "Yeah, it happened because he was so high on drugs." Like he would just, I was like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" The most horrible thing happened to a human being. And then my right wing
Yeah.
family is always just like, "Well, we know why,
Well,
because these
yeah.
hippies."
Nothing's
No,
ever
we
happened
don't.
to anybody who wasn't on drugs before. It only
I
happens
know.
to people on drugs. Bad things.
Yeah. But anyway, anyway, I told
Yeah.
everybody I was kidding about that.
Yeah.
And I was hammered. So I don't think I told
Sure.
everybody. Five
Drunk
or 6 years
lying
later,
is the best.
what?
Drunk lying is the best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
5 or 6 years later, I'm at the cellar and this improviser comes in and we're talking. And they were like, "We met before." It's like, "You're Eric Clapton's son." And I was like, "No, man, that's a fucking wild ass lie." So there's just people in America, maybe
Yeah.
three,
Yeah.
who think I'm Eric Clapton's son.
And then there's other people who are like, I know somebody who met Eric Clapton's son randomly at a bar one
Yeah.
night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Son of Clapton.
There's
Greg,
just
son of Clapton.
honestly, we can move I could talk about this forever. We can move on, but my favorite is lying in Ubers. I love to
Oh,
lie
yeah.
in an Uber because it's one of those, it's one of those things where it's like I'll never see this person ever again. I could be whoever I want. I could tell them whatever I want. It's my absolute favorite. And it's never anything like that crazy. It's usually if they ask me like what I'm doing, where I'm going, whatever it is. If I'm like going somewhere that's like kind of strange, if I'm going to the airport or whatever. Airport is fun. I'll lie pretty much every time if I'm going to the airport. I'll never tell them where I'm actually going. Usually involves another country,
Right.
family member, it's like it's always fun. But yeah, I don't know why. It's just maybe just what I'm actually doing is just boring, so I just want to lie, but it is very fun to just completely lie to strangers.
Lying in an Uber is one of my favorite pastimes
Yeah.
because it's one of the greatest things. They want to talk to you. You
Yeah.
can be someone else. And here's the thing: heaven doesn't exist. Reincarnation at least doesn't exist that we would remember it. So you only
Yeah.
get to live once. With a
Yeah.
lie, you could live as many times as you want.
So many lives. You could
So many
just,
lives.
yeah. Yeah. It's a lot of fun. Look, if you're listening to this and you're in Uber right now, go ahead and just tell one fib before you get out of that Uber. You know,
Yeah.
just tell them something crazy. Well, we could get into some stuff here. I'm sure everyone's dying for an update on my ultrasound that I had.
Oh yeah.
I don't know how much you remember, but I had to take my pants off completely in front of a strange woman to get the wrong ultrasound. And so last week I actually got the correct ultrasound, and guess what I didn't have to do?
Take your pants off.
Did not have to take my pants off. Not even a little bit. I didn't have to take off anything. I didn't have to remove any clothing at all. So
Did you have underwear on? That's what everyone wants to
I
know.
put on two pairs just to be sure. I put on two pairs of underwear and a pair of shorts. I put on socks and shoes. Sometimes I don't wear socks. I'm not a big sock person, but I put on every piece of clothing that was necessary to be in public and around strangers. And I just want everyone to know that it's not that crazy that I didn't wear underwear the last time because I knew if I would have got the correct test, I wouldn't have had to take my pants off.
It's not crazy. It's just a way of life that some
Yeah.
people live that makes me like, it's like finding out you have cats. It's like, all right, like, okay, cool, man. Cats are cool, but I didn't
I
know you were a cat person. You're just
I
someone I didn't know.
but I do wear underwear. The only reason I didn't was because it was I was in pain. I had this injury. It was hard to put them on. Less clothing, the better. Now
Right.
today, I'm actually going to see a doctor now to review the ultrasound in like 4 hours. I'm going to the doctor. I don't think there'll be any reason for me to remove clothing this time, and I'm gonna dress like a normal person, like I usually
Right.
do. It was just because of that. But I just want everyone to know that I basically I feel like I was punished for being in pain, you know. I got the results back. It sounds insane. I don't know if you've ever torn. I tore like everything.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't know how I could have torn so much shit and I still can like walk around. I mean, I feel weird, but let me just read this to you from what I and just tell me how you would feel if this was the results you got from an ultrasound. Now, again, it just it I heard like a snap, right? And it was clear something happened, but I just assumed like, oh, I tore a thing. So, first of all, I don't know if you could, it's always hard to show things on there, but okay. It's just long. There's 3 paragraphs that I got from the doctor, basically.
Wait, are you going to
For
read all 3 paragraphs?
it's
Because
just,
I'll kill myself.
it's, I'm just gonna read the the
The highlight
headline
reel.
here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, complete tear of the right. See, I don't even know how to pronounce these words. Uh, plantaris
Okay.
plantaris muscle. Complete. Okay, so complete tear of a tendon. Um, the tendon is completely torn and retracted by about 5 centimeters. So, I mean, that sounds horrible, right? Doesn't that sound bad? 5 centimeters seems bad. Small, low grade, partial thickness tear. Thickness tear sounds bad. That's some other.
Thickness tear sounds sexual, brother.
it,
But anyway,
it
sorry.
does.
Keep on.
So, thickness tear in the calf muscle, and then suspected low grade strain of another muscle, another calf muscle. What's the one thing I wanted to point out was it says this isn't unusual. This apparently this muscle isn't essential for movement, and many people recover without surgery. So that was the main thing I wanted to get to.
Oh, so maybe no surgery. But do you
You
have a cast or what do you
you
what are
got
you working
no.
with leg wise?
I just been walking around with a cane, just like
Well,
limping, just looking
nice.
like a psycho. Um. Anyway, I'm going to talk to a doctor today. I'm very interested to hear what they have to say, but I just didn't realize there was muscles and tendons in your leg that you could just completely tear and it has zero effect on your movement. Like
Yeah, the lazy muscles. They don't
it's
do
just
shit. Those are lazy
I'm
boys.
it's just yeah, it just doesn't it's just there I guess to eventually stop working. So anyway, it's been quite a ride. I'm interested to talk to this doctor. I'm not thrilled about it, but I am curious to see what he has to say. But yeah, let's get into some stories. I really just wanted to tell everybody that I was right about you know the
Yeah,
whole underwear situation, but whatever, it's fine.
understandable.
It's okay. All right. So this first story I thought was really interesting. Not super death related, but death adjacent for sure. There was a man that has lived for 100 days with an artificial titanium heart. So what they're calling it's considered a breakthrough in heart
Yeah.
failure treatment. And I mean the headline is what got me. I mean titanium heart is crazy. They put
Yeah,
they put a titanium heart in this guy for 100 days. He was basically like the Tin Man for a
took
hundred
over, dude.
days, and then he somebody else died, got hit by a bus or whatever, and he got a heart transplant. And now he's good. So,
Yeah,
I mean, how does that make you
he
feel? Just
escaped death. Well, he is, it is death related. He escaped death.
yeah,
I mean, the insanity of knowing you have a thing in your heart that no one has ever in your chest that no one has ever survived with,
yeah,
right? He's like, you just know you're like, oh, I mean, this could be no one. This has worked for nobody, but
yeah.
we're trying it because why the fuck not? But he lived 100 days. Could have lived 200.
I mean, I think
We don't know,
eventually we're going to get to the point where people are just going to have titanium hearts,
right?
right? Like 100 days is a pretty fucking, that's a long time for, something that's considered a breakthrough. That's this new, this new treatment for heart failure. There was a story not that long ago where they used like a pig's heart. Did you see that?
Yeah, they'll get those people always die.
And yeah, the guy, I think it was a month maybe he lived.
I don't understand why we can't figure this out. I don't understand why we're not able to. Like, we could do so much shit. We can't figure out how to get a new heart. Like,
I
it
would
just needs
have.
to be a thing that does this. I don't get it.
Well, so I actually interviewed somebody for the podcast not that long ago. It hasn't come out yet, but she has this thing called an LVAD, and it's basically pumps her heart for her. She doesn't like she literally doesn't have a pulse. Like it's just a
Crazy.
machine. She's currently living through end stage heart failure, waiting for a heart transplant. And her heart was so weak that they had to do this surgery to and implant this LVAD. And yeah, it's basically a machine. It fucking runs on batteries, dude. And
What kind of batteries?
just they look like N64 cartridges. It's
Whoa.
it's crazy. I don't know if you could Google anything right now. It's Google LVAD, LVAD, and it's this it's this whole thing, man, and it's like implanted in her side, and then obviously goes
Whoa.
up to her heart, and then pumps her heart for her. The first thing I said to her was like, "Aren't you scared you're going to forget to charge your batteries? What if you lose the battery? Like, aren't you worried that like you're going to trip and unplug the thing while it's charging? Like, it's just I would have so much paranoia around the entire thing. And it just seems like such a obviously it's an incredible piece of machinery. It's keeping her alive. But then when you hear things like, oh, this guy got a fucking titanium heart, and she's sitting there, making sure she said to me, she goes, I'm one of I used to be one of those people who like their phone was always dead. And now I'm
Right.
like responsible for like charging these batteries that I got to swap out for my heart. And I'm like, I mean, that would just give me the most insane paranoia. And and then again,
How
you read these articles where this guy's got a titanium heart.
it's got to have a back. Like, you got to have like two batteries plugged in at all times.
Of course, yes,
Right.
there is like she did. I'm like basically revealing the entire episode, which is fine. But she also talked about how like when she first left the hospital, they forgot to give her extra batteries. So like luckily
Oh
she
God.
it's like she had to have somebody go back and like get extra. But yeah, it's like a whole thing where like I think it's like you know one battery's charging, the other one's running the thing, and then you swap them. But they only last for like 12 hours. Like it's not like the battery. I thought the battery would last for like 3 days or like a
Right.
week. And she's like, no, it's like 12 hours. I constantly swapping those things out. So it's like, oh, what if you get, dude? I got trapped in a laundry room one time for like an
Right.
hour. What happens if you get like locked in a closet? Yeah, I mean, and your battery's
You're bringing
dying.
backups. I mean, you're definitely bringing back. You got to bring backups because you never
But
know.
everywhere, like, what if you get like
Everywhere.
locked?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah,
Everywhere. Yes. Yes. Everywhere. Absolutely everywhere. Yeah. Everywhere you go, you have four batteries on you. What? Of course. Well,
I
you're sitting here like,
guess
I don't want to be carrying all these batteries. I'd rather just get die.
I just hate having a lot of stuff in my pockets, you know?
Of course, it's so annoying if your heart is going to stop.
Yeah, that's true. I guess you just got to have you got to have like a satchel with you everywhere you go. I mean, we really get into it. I'm excited for people to hear that episode. She's pretty great, but she's young too, which is so unfortunate.
Right.
Um, I didn't I recorded the episode with her before I even heard about this thing. I would have been so curious if she would have been into it, but she seemed pretty nervous about the whole thing and like getting the heart transplant, obviously. Which way if I had to choose, and obviously I guess it's not that hard of a question, but eventually they're going to get to the point where we won't even need like a normal. I'm waiting for them to just like 3D print stuff. Would you be comfortable? Would you rather just be given a titanium artificial heart, or would you want a heart transplant?
And the transplants don't usually. You're talking about. I mean, a heart transplant with like a normal human heart, they usually work, right? Or no?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know
I
what
want the one
the
that's going to keep me alive longer with a better chance.
okay, but eventually we're going to get to a point where I think people are just going to get titanium hearts
Yeah, I want
instead
titanium
of
everything.
waiting for. That's what I'm saying. I
I
want
want
3D
the
printed
shipathesis.
kidneys. Yeah,
I want to be in 200 years. There's not a piece of me left. I'm just a whole new RoboCop.
I'm googling right now. What's the success rate for heart transplant? What do you think the success rate is for a heart transplant?
Oh God. Can I take two guesses?
Yeah,
It's either
yeah.
75 or 25.
That's basically going saying a dollar on the Price is Right.
Yeah, I guess it's either mediumly good or mediumly bad.
Yeah, it's basically like yeah, okay. So they break it down here a little bit. They do 1 year survival rate, 5 year survival rate, and then 10 year. So what do you think the 1 year survival rate is?
I think once you get past 1 year, you're shooting to 10. So I'll say 1 year, 25%.
1 year survival rate is between 85 to 90% for heart
Oh,
transplant
thank God.
patients.
That's great to hear.
Isn't that nice to hear? I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, I was with you. I was the same way. I was like, oh yeah, the first year's got to be the hardest because it's like recovery and
Right.
some people probably are like, oh, I'm going to start exercising again, and then like their heart explodes or whatever. But 85 to 90 is pretty, and this I guess this makes more sense. But now we're looking at okay, 5 years down the road. Now your body has had somebody else's heart inside them for 5 years. What do you think it drops down to from 85 to 90?
Well, you cheated. 10%.
75%.
Hey, that's not bad at all.
I
That's
like
still pretty good.
it's amazing. I like how you think you just die after 5 years.
I don't know. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. I don't know how long we've been doing these things.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's another great question. I don't know. I've seen photos of what I think was one of the first, not the like first ever heart transplants, but it was like there was a country that like had just started doing heart transplants, and there was like a doctor like sleeping in the corner of the operating room because it like took so long. But we've been doing this for a while. And then 10-year survival rate, that's where it dips a little bit more. But even still, 50 to 60% of patients are still alive after 10 years from a heart transplant. 10 years is not that long, but I mean, I guess if your option is either death or a heart transplant, I don't know. I definitely wouldn't want the pig. I'm nowhere near comfortable. That's like getting in a driverless Uber. We're just not there yet. I'm not comfortable. I still want a human being behind the wheel. More people need to
Hmm.
die in the driverless Uber before I get in one. And unfortunately, I think more people. How do you think they choose who gets a pig heart? You gotta like, I guess, you
A
can't
person who
ask
looks most
for it.
like a person who looks most like a pig. Yeah,
If
you
you
look like a
look like
pig.
a
We give you a
farm
pig heart.
animal, you get a farm
Yeah, yeah,
animal.
no,
But
this thing will work. Look fine. Nobody's even going to notice with your
I
pig
mean,
face.
it seems like such like a lottery thing, right? Like how do you get chosen for that? Do you ask for it? Like is it just maybe the hospital you're in? But I mean, what are the odds you end up being the guy who's like, "Oh yeah, right here, pig
I
heart."
know. Because I mean, these situations I've been in before where
Yeah.
like you like, well, why can't we do that? And they're like, oh no, we don't do that. Like if you're like you got a heart attack and they're like, hey, look, and they go, oh, what about a pig heart? And they
Yeah.
go, yeah, no, that happens in not for you, pal.
Yeah. I mean, I just I would be so curious to learn. I mean, I guess it's like when you have a rare cancer and they go,
Yeah.
"Oh, well, we're doing like this experimental trial on this new drug." And it's like, I guess you just apply for it. Maybe you just apply for the pig heart.
If you get a pig heart, every now and again you got to be like, yeah, it's all sweet, sweet. Sorry, buddy, it's a pig heart guy. I got a pig heart.
If I just had like a big piece of land, I definitely have some pigs and I wouldn't eat them. They would live forever and I would stop.
Yeah,
I don't even like bacon that much. People love
they're
bacon too
just
much.
not soft enough. Like if a pig was like, if you got some real fur on that guy, so you could really give him a good cuddle and squeeze him. Like pigs, that's my problem with goat. If I
Mm,
could have any animal, I want a goat. But petting a goat, their hair is like
yeah.
SOS pads.
Yeah.
I wish they were more fluffy and soft.
You ever see a javelina? They got some fur and they're like kind of a pig.
the hell's a
T-
javelina?
they're terrifying though. I grew up in an area like in north areas like northern-ish Arizona where there
Yeah.
was javelinas and
What the
they
fuck?
dude, they're crazy.
Oh, it's like a jackal almost, a pig
Yeah,
jackal.
yeah, yeah. I used to work.
Hyena.
I used to work at this pizza place, and they used to try and get into our dumpsters for food, and they would straight up like try and murder you. Like they would like
Wait, these things are just running around the town?
walking around parking lots in a
What?
neighborhood. Oh yeah, dude. It was. I used to live kind of in like the mountain-ish area, desert-ish area in Arizona.
America's
Um,
crazy, man.
It's wild. And dude, I used to have to get in my car and drive at them with my car to scare them away because they would try and murder me. Like I would be taking out the trash and they would, especially if they had like little babies with them, they think you're trying to like take their children or whatever. So yeah, I've almost been killed by multiple javelinas. It's pretty cool. Anyway, I would love a titanium heart. I mean, I hope I never have to be at a point in my life where I need a heart transplant. I think that would be absolutely terrifying, and I feel awful for anybody who has to go through that. But yes, I mean, I'm going titanium heart. The pig heart thing is cool. I want metal everything, especially with like all the issues with my legs I've been having. Metal legs would be cool. Metal heart would be
Legs.
awesome. I just, I'm just so sick of. We live in the future. We shouldn't have to deal with like
I
this
know.
fucking meat sack that we have, right? Like,
Absolutely, it's crazy.
we're past meat sacks.
It's crazy that I have been saying, I said this, I'll say this every single episode because I'm going
Yeah,
to drive this home.
yeah.
It is crazy we're not immortal. It's crazy
We're
that they haven't
getting
worked
there.
on that.
Yeah,
We're
I
not, though.
we are the we. I mean, we're moving in that direction. We're not. Maybe we're
Are
not
we get
close, but we're getting there.
we need to get there in the next 30 years,
I
or
honestly
it
think
doesn't do anything for me.
if me and if me and you make it to 70, I genuinely think if we make it to 70, we could probably live to like 150 if we make it to 70.
That's great. I'd like to live to 150.
I do 200 would be killer. And again, it's like it's not even for anything that special other than I just don't want to miss out on stuff. I just want to know what's going on.
No, I just don't want to die ever because death is over.
Yeah, yeah, that part sucks too. I just want to, I want to be able to listen to my favorite podcast still and watch White Lotus or whatever. I just don't want to
Yeah.
miss out on stuff. The death
No,
part is scary too.
I
The
want to
whole
live so
yeah.
long that I've had sex with every single human being on earth.
Man
And
and male and female,
every
every
single
human being.
person who can consent on
Okay.
earth.
All right.
And now here's the thing: you say, well,
Yeah.
what if they don't want to have sex with you?
Sure.
Well, I'll be living so long that I will learn what they love and become the thing they love to
Eventually,
eventually
yeah, you'll
have
wear
sex
them
with that
down.
person too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Billions upon billions. I mean, however long that takes, that's how long I want to live.
You titanium genitals.
I would need them.
I mean, if you're gonna try and have sex with billions of people, then yeah, you would probably need a metal dick at this point. Yeah.
I mean, the first thing I have to do is immediately go on TV and be like, hey guys, this is the plan. Let's get the people who want to have sex with me out of the way.
Everybody get in line.
So if you are, look, listen, it's going to happen to everyone because
Yeah.
I'll be working for the rest of billions of years to do this. If
Yeah.
you want to just get out of the way now, let's get the next 5 years. We'll set a date for the next 5 years.
Yeah. I mean, you're basically. It wasn't there like some porn star that had sex with like 100 guys in a day or something? Did you see that? Am I?
Yeah.
You know,
I don't want to do that though.
that's what you just said you wanted. You said you
No,
wanted to
I
do
want to
that
be
times a
yeah,
billion.
intimate, a relationship.
Oh, so you want to date every person on the planet?
I would love to be, yes, intimate emotionally and sexually with every single person who's
Wow,
ever lived.
that seems exhausting.
Well, not when you spread it out over the course of 5 billion years.
Oh, that's right. You're going to live forever.
Right. And they also have to be, see, in this world, everyone's immortal.
Ah,
I
okay.
guess, right? That's the only because the people would die before I get to them, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like there's a reason why the term "if you were the last person on Earth," you're probably gonna hear that a lot. And then I don't know. Don't you have a wife? How's she gonna? Is she you gonna kill her or throw her in a closet? She's gonna be
I
fine
could
with
give
all
her,
this.
like, I mean, she's going to get sick of me after 40 years. She's already sick of me now. It's been 15 years. You think billions of years, I would be having sex with my wife again and being like, "Hey, didn't we already do this?" And she
This
was like,
feels
"I don't.
familiar.
This feels familiar." She's like, "Yeah, we raised two kids together. When? A billion years ago."
That's crazy. That to be able to live long, because it's so interesting you say that. I was literally last night, I was thinking about something that happened, I don't know, 10 years ago, and I genuinely cannot remember what exactly happened. It's almost like
Right.
it didn't happen because
Right.
I legitimately, it's my brain has removed it from whatever is going on in there. I genuinely have no way of recollecting what happened. So now essentially it just didn't happen because I have no memory of it. So
And that's the thing, right?
if you lived for 1,000 years, 10,000 years, you would just live multiple lives because unless they give us some sort of brain juice or we start
Right.
learning how to use more of it, because don't we only use like 5% of our brain or something?
Well, I think what would happen at this point is that
Yeah.
you would be documenting stuff or videotaping it, and you'd have AI to recall it for you.
Ah, that's right. Okay. I basically
You'd have
there
to
would
have some
be
kind of robot guy with you.
I'd have like a GoPro built into like my eyeball.
Right.
And I would just be like live streaming and recording my whole life. And then I'd go, didn't I have children and a marriage and a wife for
Yep.
15 years? And then you'd go, hey Siri, and then Siri, oh, that's actually shouldn't have done that. Now my phone's
Well,
going
your
off.
series very good.
Yeah. And then yeah, man, that's kind of terrifying. But it would be fun to be able to just go back and like watch a video of me when I'm like 19 years old. That would be cool. And just
Kids are
like
gonna
be
have
like,
that now.
yeah, yeah,
That's what's
yeah,
scary, man.
yeah,
That's what I feel so bad for. Is every embarrassing moment in our life is legend, and we've been able to
yeah,
change it to make ourselves look good. Kids now
yeah,
are like, "Oh, you remember that time you shit your pants?
yeah.
Yeah, it got 16 million views."
It's on YouTube right now in 4K.
Right.
Everybody, yeah. Yeah, that is a bummer. And I guess yeah, but I do feel like the internet isn't forever. People are like, "Oh, the
You're
internet's
gonna shut the.
forever." It's not. What's that?
You're gonna stop doing the internet.
No, I just think that like I don't know, people would post crazy shit, emotional, weird stuff
Oh,
Live Journal or MySpace, and they're like, the internet's forever. Go find any of that. No, it's
here's the
not.
thing. I know what you mean. I thought you meant the internet's not forever. Like we're gonna just stop having the internet.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah, yeah.
But
No,
what
I
you're
just
saying is
yeah,
so. I deal with this on like an actual thing of I've done so many podcasts, so I
yeah.
was worried that my kids would find my podcasts,
Oh, yeah.
but I've done so many that there's no way they're going to listen to all of the shit I've done to find the super embarrassing stuff.
They're
It's
also
just too
gonna,
much.
yeah, they're also gonna be like, living with you is like a podcast. Why would I want to listen to more of it?
I know.
I can't imagine that many kids are going to go back and be like, man, you know what I really want to do right now is listen to my dad talk to another grown man for an hour while I ride the
That'd be
bus.
no man. I think it'd really be a fun thing for like great grandkids. It'd probably like a fun thing like, hey, dude, let's look up my great grandfather and just see what that guy's life was about, and then you can listen to all his podcasts and all this stuff. Like it'd be thing like, oh, like 100 years from now, you can just pick a dude and just listen to his whole life.
I mean, I guess it is interesting when they have like, oh, we have video from like the 50s of like your grandparents at the beach. And you're like, oh, that's cool. I want you watch that video. But if it was like, hey, this is your grandpa talking about boats for
Right.
an hour, I'd be like, nah, I'm probably gonna skip that one.
Yeah, but not me, man. My grand, they're like, hey, I found a clip of your great 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 grandfather saying he had a plan to fuck every person on the planet if he was immortal.
And then they're listening to it while they immortally just have sex with another person and like, this
Yeah,
is crazy.
they're gonna be like, he was so ahead of his time.
Yeah,
He didn't know that'd be an everyday thing.
yeah. I guess. Yeah, I don't know. The internet's terrifying. Everything's
Thing
scary.
I always come back to this, but the thing that it always hits me in the head is that there's going to be a time in the future, if we
Yeah.
don't all die, that people will just go, "Hey, remember when people used to die?" And that's going to be crazy
Yeah.
because they're going to look at us like, "Oh my God, they just stopped existing." Like,
Yeah.
what do you mean just stopped? They just stopped existing. All their thoughts, it's all gone.
Some people only got 25 years. and they're they're
45.
they're going to be a lot, so they're all going to like know somebody who knows somebody who's like, yeah, my great grandpa got hit by a car. And they're going to be like, what's a car? And then they're going to be like,
Right.
yeah, it's this thing with four wheels. And they're going to be like, what are wheels? It's going to be weird.
Yeah.
Wheels are going to I'm assuming wheels will go away at some point, maybe
Yeah,
not,
no,
but
we'll be, floating triangles will be the
yeah,
new thing.
it's all going to be bird scooters that, levitate or something. It'll be fine. I like how I feel like every time we do this podcast, which I very much enjoy, it always just goes to like the like the future. Like we just start talking
Yeah.
about the Jetsons almost every time. I'm into
Because
it.
we have to, because death is so fucking sad that we have to think about, not that.
I guess I don't know. I don't think death is that sad. I think I think it can be, but not all the time. Sometimes death is beautiful.
Horrifying. Death is beautiful when you're not the one involved.
I guess it's terrifying and beautiful. It could be both.
I mean, I've recently been thinking a lot about dying for a cause might be cool. Like being like,
yeah,
oh, my kids, I had my kids, they're good. If I do this thing, they'll have a better life.
yeah,
That's okay. Like,
sure.
I don't know what that thing is.
This is sort of on the same page. This is kind of. Do you ever see the movie The Chicago Seven? Are you aware of the Chicago Seven at all? It's about a protest that took place in Chicago. It was like a Vietnam War
Yes.
protest.
Keep going
Um,
because I did a deep dive on this once.
they
Tell me
made
more
it
of it.
so Aaron Sorkin wrote a movie about it,
Yeah.
and Jeremy Strong and Sacha Baron Cohen, and there's a ton of people in
Yes.
it. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Who were they? Tell me more because I remember Sacha Baron Cohen is on the stand and he's
yeah.
being wild. Just give me a brief summary of this again.
Well, basically, there's a couple of different groups of people that are planning this march in Chicago during the Democratic convention to protest the Vietnam War, and they're trying to get permits to protest in this park in Chicago, and they're never given the permits. They go to Chicago anyway. While they're protesting, the police get involved. There becomes this big riot in the park in Chicago, and they basically go after these seven people who are all sort of like the leaders of these different, like protest groups. And it's called the Chicago Seven, and it becomes this major, court case that goes on for almost a year. And yeah, it's very involved. Joseph Gordon-Levitt's in it. It's very very interesting. But what made me think of all of this is there's a part in it where they talk about, you know, what they're willing to give for this cause and for protesting Vietnam. And one of the lines is, what are you willing to give up? And he said, my life. That was something he was willing to give for, the cause that he cared about. And I think that yeah, that goes on the shelf of like a beautiful death, right? As if you
Yeah,
care
of
about
course.
something so much, especially when it's other people, like the Vietnam War. I mean, there was a guy that was one of these seven, like who basically he just dedicated his entire life to documenting it and keeping a record of every single person who died in Vietnam.
Wow.
And, when they finally got sentenced at the end, they were given a chance to sort of make a statement. And if it was, the judge was very much against them and was like, if you make, a proper statement, asking for your forgiveness, maybe we'll give you a lighter sentence. And he decided to just start listing all the people that died in Vietnam instead of asking
Wow.
for a. It's beautiful, great movie. Aaron Sorkin isn't for everybody. He very much has a very specific writing style, which I think is like people talk quick. Your people are talking
Yeah, sure.
fast and loose and whatever. And some people, I feel like they're like, that's not how people talk. But I don't know. Did you ever watch The West Wing or?
Right. No, but
It's a
just quickly
very
that
specific type of writing. But
I'm okay with when people write things and doesn't sound like people, okay? Because Aaron
yeah,
Sorkin is a storyteller.
yeah,
He's telling us a story in his style. I'm
yeah,
okay with that. Like, yeah, this is his story. It's okay. As long as it's not like boring.
yeah. I also did like a deep dive on like the whole story and like the Chicago Seven afterwards. It's very interesting. But I also love Jeremy Strong. I don't know if you ever watched. Um, Goddamn, what is that show on HBO with Jeremy
Yeah.
Strong and
Revel,
Kieran Culkin?
seclusion, sec-
Succession.
secession.
Yeah. Yeah, he's great. He plays like this, like very much like hippie, like guy. He's incredible. I love that guy. All right. What seems like the most interesting to you here? We got there was somebody was killed by a firing squad recently, which
Oh
is
yeah, that was fun.
pretty wild. Do you want to get into that?
That was pretty crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
the
mean, how do
astronaut, the
you
Gene Hackman thing. I don't even know what the fuck happened with Gene Hackman. I think she just died, and
dude,
then he died.
she died of a crazy illness, which is like, I mean, we could do so, yeah, quickly. The Gene Hackman thing is wild in the sense of like they both died. They were both just found dead in their house together.
Yeah,
And but he was like 95. He was on like a pacemaker, I think it is. I mean, the guy had dementia. I mean,
yeah.
he was on his way out. There's no surprise Gene Hackman's dead. But his wife was only 66 and she died of this rare disease that you get through contacting infected rodents. So it's
Wild.
like, how do you even get that? Like that sounds
Right,
like something that like you would get like during like the plague era.
right.
Like why is she dying from like plague diseases? And this guy's
Yeah.
got a titanium heart and she's like getting like rodent infections.
And then Gene Hackman died of natural causes after that.
So she died first and then he has dementia. He can't take care of himself.
Right.
So he eventually I think just died of uh heart
Starvation.
disease. And
Oh,
yeah, I mean, he could have fallen over and then like that's it.
right.
Like he was just she was his primary care. So I think, Alzheimer's, cardiovascular, he probably had high blood pressure. He probably didn't take his meds and he probably died.
Right. And I think the dog died too.
Yeah. Well, the dog was locked in a crate. So I just think it couldn't eat.
Oh my
So the other
God.
dogs, I think, were able to still eat. But yeah, super unfortunate. Gene Hackman obviously is such a legend. It's a really unfortunate way to go. His wife was only 66, but
Yeah.
there is also something kind of beautiful going back to beautiful death. The fact that they died together. Um, you know, I think there's something nice about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, the whole thing, everyone just assumed carbon monoxide at first because they
Yeah.
were both just like on the ground dead. And you're like, yeah, I guess that could be it. But very strange. Again, like to I don't know how she's getting infected by rodents. Like, did they
Right.
just have like rats and mice living in like they must have had some sort of infestation. I don't know how else do you get that,
Right.
but I mean, you got to get a cat or something at that point. Um,
My favorite fun fact about um the plague
yeah.
actually is, do you know why witches have cats?
What I do know this actually. Yeah, why
You
more
do?
men died than women from the plague was because women had cats and the cats were killing the rats and the
Yeah.
rats had the plague and then they were like, why are all these women living? They must be witches.
And they killed them.
It's crazy. It's a
Did
crazy
I tell
fact.
you
I
that?
love that. No, I just knew that. Isn't that weird? I just
I
knew
thought I
that.
was the only person who knew that.
I also that's a fun fact I like to share with cat people.
It's
I
my
go,
favorite.
if there's ever a plague, you'll probably live.
Yeah. Okay.
Look at us.
That's
Just
fun.
we I'm sorry to like ruin your fun fact, but
No, that's good.
it's a
It's my
great
favorite fun
fact.
fact. It's
It's
a great
very
fact.
cool. Yeah.
Now all the witches have cats
Yep.
because they were keeping them alive.
The
That's fucked
witches,
up.
yeah, the plague can't kill a witch because of their cats.
Right.
All right, really quick here. We'll get into this. We'll get out of here. There was a firing squad execution. It happened at the beginning of the month, March 7th. Apparently, it's the first to happen in the U.S. in over 15 years. The man
15. I
was
thought they were going to say 40.
no, it's
15.
not
That's
that long
not.
ago.
Wow. Yeah. 15 is not a long time.
One of the things that I found so interesting about it is he chose. They gave him the option. They go, "How do you
Right.
want to die?" And he goes, "Firing squad." And honestly, between firing squad and lethal injection, I'd go firing squad too because that's it. It's lights out.
Is it though? What if they don't hit the main things?
No, they're dude, they're hitting the mark. I think
Who
it's
are they
like
giving the guns to?
they're to people that know how to shoot a gun. I would hope.
Now, does
marksmen.
everyone get a bullet, or do some of them not
It's
have
only like
bullets?
it's only like three people. I was picturing like I think you're picturing like a line of like 15 guys.
40 to 60.
It's three volunteer shooters from 15 feet away, and I think if there's one bullet in one of the guns, then blanks in the two others,
Yes.
and so nobody knows who actually kills the guy. And apparently, the prison that he was in was doing some really sketchy stuff. They were whatever they were able to like use the law to not disclose how they were purchasing the chemicals for lethal injection, and they weren't legally, they didn't have to disclose the procedure or how they were really implementing anything. So it was all super sketchy. And there were like reports of other people getting lethal injection. And it seemed like it took like 20 minutes for them to die. So it
Oh
was
my
just
god.
like torture. So this guy goes, look, you're gonna kill me. Let's do firing squad. Let's bring it back, baby. 15
Yeah.
years. And I just don't want to, I mean, if your choices are lethal injection, electric chair, or firing squad, I mean, what are you going to pick?
Right. Yeah.
So
I Firing squad seems fun. You should be able to do it to yourself. I don't know. That I can't do that.
just give the guy on death row, just give him a gun.
Yeah. Yeah.
They
Yeah.
just do
That's great. Who
Russian roulette.
volunteers?
Yeah, yeah. I
What
mean,
people sickos?
these are just yeah, dude. I mean, this is in South Carolina. I don't know. It's so interesting. Yes, volunteers. I would assume there has to be some sort of criteria to volunteer. Maybe like you
Right.
have to be like ex-police or ex-military or something. You can't just be like, oh yeah, Carl. Carl's got a great shot. I've seen him hit, multiple beer cans.
It's
Uh,
just the same line. The same guy is like, "Hey, do you want a pig heart? No, you can't do it. Well, you can sign up for the firing squad. We got all the things here."
or it's just like there's one guy who like just doesn't ever get picked. He's just like wait,
Yeah.
just dying for it. He's like, come on, guys. I do love
Right.
the idea of a guy, just some guy named Carl who just never gets picked. They're just like drawing straws, and every time he just gets the short straw. Um,
That's great.
but yeah, it is pretty wild that I mean I don't know. We don't have to get into a whole discussion on the thoughts behind the death penalty and all of that. I actually interviewed a guy like a year ago or something who spent a lot of his time. I'm blanking on it now. He was a chaplain. He considered himself an atheist chaplain, and he worked in the prison system. And the New York Times did this really great article on him because there was, the sort of this high profile guy who got executed that he was spending time with, and I don't know, it's really interesting. I think obviously there's a lot of different points of view on the death penalty. This guy was broken up with by his girlfriend, and so he kidnapped her and tried to kill her, and then she escaped. So then he got a baseball bat and murdered her parents. So I
Which is wild.
mean, I still
I
don't
don't
know
blame
if we need to kill the guy, but he's clearly like he was clearly guilty. And that's sort
him.
of my whole
Yeah.
thing about the death penalty is like if we don't know for sure, I get nervous about killing somebody. This guy for sure did it. He was caught
Right.
with a bloody baseball, like I don't know. The whole story is pretty wild. The girlfriend survived though. She escaped. He
That's
tried
fucking
shooting her
great.
and he missed her and she escaped. But the parents not so lucky. But yeah, firing squad still happening in America. What year is it? 2025? Pretty crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. It hasn't happened since Obama.
And again, he chose this. So it's like I
It's
guess,
crazy.
you
Yeah.
know, it didn't have to happen. There's been a handful of executions in the past couple of weeks. I think Trump has really sort of loosened the restrictions on
Yeah.
execution, so it's happening a lot more. Yeah, I sort of just threw it in the mix for the podcast because it's
That's
a crazy way to die, man. I mean, it's crazy.
yeah.
It's a wild thing, and again, I don't know. This guy murdering two people with a baseball bat is like psychotic. I mean,
Yeah.
that
Those
is
people aren't
just
good.
some next level crazy shit. And he's quoted as saying, after she broke up with him, I couldn't have her, and I wasn't going to let anybody else have her. So I
Yeah.
don't know why that means you got to go murder her parents.
I
Maybe
know.
just like start
Like your
killing.
parents couldn't have her? Yeah.
Yeah, like start. Why don't you just go to the bar, start killing strange men who could have eventually had her. That would have made more sense.
I gotta go, but
All right.
thank you for having me again.
Of
What a great
course,
time we
man.
had.
All right,
All
pal.
right.
See you,
See
man.
ya.